Hello everyone! Following part 1 of the AZ Creator app demo, this is part 2, where we walk through the format of the CAD files you'll need. We'll start by creating a new, empty drawing to demonstrate the basic format. Step 1. Set the units. Make sure the units match the Tekla model you're working with. This is very important for proper alignment later on. Step 2. Create the required layers. For a beam layout, you need at least one layer called beams. This will contain the lines representing the frame beams. Optionally, you can add another layer called beams profiles if you want to include text labels for each beam's profile. You can use a single profile for all beams and assign different profiles later in Tekla. That's up to you. If you're preparing a grid layout, you'll need a layer called columns, and again, optionally, a columns profiles layer if you're including text. Now let's make two example plans. One without profiles, and one with profiles. This grid I'm using is just a guide. It's not required. You can work freely. Just remember these rules. A line in the CAD file will create a straight horizontal beam in Tekla. A polyline will create a polybeam. An arc will create a curved beam. And for profile text, it must exactly match the profile name in Tekla and be placed as close as possible to the center of the line it belongs to. Once your plan is ready, save each one as a separate CAD file. There are two requirements. The origin point of the CAD file must match the Tekla model, especially if you want it placed in the correct location automatically. You can always move them later if needed. The file name of the CAD drawing should be the top of steel elevation for that plan, using the same units as the CAD file and Tekla model. You can save the files as DXF or DWG. Now you could copy the plan manually into a new drawing and save it every time, but I've written a small script to automate this process. After loading the script, I can just select the parts, pick the origin, and save the file. Quick and easy. Let's do the same for a dummy grid layout. We'll make two grid files as well. Now let's move over to Tekla Structures and open the app. First, we'll load the plan without profiles. As expected, it says unknown profile, and when we insert it into Tekla, it assigns the default profile we've set, in this case, W8X31. But if we load the plan with profiles, the app reads the text from the CAD file and assigns the correct profile to each beam. For grids, after loading the file, we need to pick two things. The origin point of the grid. I recommend using the bottom left corner, the positive direction of the grid. Match it to how the CAD drawing is oriented. And that's it. Now let's look at the worst case scenario. You don't have the original CAD drawings. It'll take a bit more time, but still much faster than modeling everything manually in Tekla. We start by importing the PDF page into AutoCAD and cleaning it up a little. This step is optional, but it helps make things clearer and easier to work with. After that, we follow the same steps as before. Place beam lines on the beams layer, place column lines on the columns layer. Use whatever method works best to select the lines. Here, I'm using Select Similar based on length. Isolate the selection and make sure every frame line is selected. Now we save the plan, using the origin point just like we did earlier. Next, we create another version of the plan, this time including profile text. Put all profile text on the beam's profiles layer, and make sure each beam line has its corresponding text placed near the center. If one profile represents multiple beams, that's okay. You can leave it as is and assign profiles later in Tekla. Or you can manually copy the profile text near each beam in AutoCAD if you prefer. Again, save the drawing using the same origin logic. Let's also change the top of steel elevation slightly to simulate a different plan. Now, a few important things to keep in mind. Horizontal beams should be represented by a single line. In this case, the PDF imported them as polylines, so we need to explode them. The same goes for the profile text. Sometimes it comes in as multi-line text, which needs to be exploded into single-line text. Once that's done, we go back to Tekla and load both plans. The plan with profiles works as expected. The tool reads the text and assigns the correct profile. The plan without profiles shows a warning. It will create beams using the default profile you've set. Also, make sure there are no extra lines left on the beams layer, or else they'll be imported as beams too, even if they're just guidelines. Now for the grids. Import the elevation view and follow the same process, this time using the columns and columns profiles layers. And keep in mind, even if you're importing beams from an elevation, just place them on the columns layer and the tool will handle them. We create two versions again, with and without profiles, and adjust the text to be close to the center of each beam or column. Then, we head back to Tekla, load the grid files, and select two things: the origin point, the positive direction, match the orientation of your CAD. In this example, there's a gap between the columns. That's because the original CAD had a splice gap between them. You can either fix this in AutoCAD by extending the lines, or just leave it. Tekla's column splice detail will handle it. And that's it. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or business inquiries, don't hesitate to reach out. Peace.